everybody and welcome to Amphlett Reviews, and today we're doing part 3 and the concluding chapter of this special Chameleon film reviews. It's been an absolute honour working with Chameleon Films and reviewing these editions and talking about these movies. I am very passionate about Asian-based content, especially for films I haven't seen and for directors and stars that I've not fully aware of, and going into these films completely blind and just kind of seeing what kind of movie I get and talk about saving the best to last. Exiled, Johnnie goddamn Toe, the man, the myth, the legend, said that multiple times now. This one, oh yes. Let's dive into the Blu-ray edition itself and my thoughts and opinions on the movie. And last but not least, we have number 3. We have Exiled from Johnnie goddamn Toe. I am loving some Johnnie Toe films right now. I am committed to review every single Johnnie Toe film that is available on a Blu-ray format. Very exciting. I've heard nothing but good things from this film. It's not got a good release outside of this. I'm very grateful for Chameleon to actually kind of, take the time to, not only put this on Blu-ray, but also get brand new extras and give a nice premium edition release. So yeah, here we go. Spine number 3. Very cool there. And we have this kind of really cool, I'm really loving the color scheme on all 3 of these editions recently. It's really cool. We have a limited edition booklet. We have 2 audio commentaries by Hong Kong cinema expert friend Jen. So I'm guessing one's a bit more of a relaxed, chill going into the film itself. One's a bit more of a technical aspect, which is also really interesting to kind of to get a bit more behind the scenes with. We have a brand new video essay on Exile as well, which is really cool. We have new interviews with co-composer, newly translated and improving the optional subtitles, making of Exile, behind the scenes, photo gallery, and 2 Hong Kong trailers and a US trailer as well. So yeah, that's a really cool set of extras there. There we go. And once again, this is a Region B set, so you will need a multi-region player. Very nice, loving the color scheme and the kind of the artwork design this one. And we get a limited edition booklet, which looks really cool. I will enjoy reading this after the film. Fantastic. And we have the reversible artwork, which gets rid of the rating based from Australia, which is much cleaner and much preferred in my personal opinion. Yeah, that's really cool. I really like that. So yeah, Exiled. This is one heck of a Blu-ray edition. This is a really fantastic release from Chameleon Films. Probably my personal favourite out of the 3 they've done so far. I absolutely love the colour scheme on this edition. I think the booklet behind the scenes is a really insightful, really interesting, and kind of, what Johnnie Toe was trying to do for this film. And each film he does has a different sense of style or social kind of commentary, or he has a certain kind of aspect he wants to kind of tackle. He's always challenging himself, and every time I see a film, I'm not sure what kind of movie I'm going to get. Something like Hero Trio, the most outlandish kind of female-led superhero Roshu movie ever, to something like a full-on blown Tarantino almost-esque kind of Western-inspired movie. Incredible, absolutely incredible. And the Blu-ray edition really kind of dives into behind the scenes with audio commentary. I really like the kind of new video essay, which I kind of enjoyed on the breaking news one as well, talking about some of the themes and some of the highlights of what the film is trying to represent in terms of films. Obviously you've got the cast and crew behind the scenes, you've got photo gallery, trailers, all that great stuff. The Teletubby transfer I think is pretty solid. I definitely think it could benefit from a 4K transfer in terms of some of the nighttime sequences, and I think maybe boost up some of those colors. I think maybe some HDR is definitely needed. I would absolutely love a 4K edition release from Chameleon Films. Maybe that can be something down the line, absolutely. But as for the current moment and currently access to this film, it's not very easy. There is no editions like it. I think you can get some kind of Hong Kong release, but it's quite limited, it's quite hard to get access to. But I think the artwork, I think the design, the booklet, the extras, just the easy access of this edition is definitely one to go for. So I absolutely recommend, out of everything else so far, this is the one to go for in terms of the film, in terms of the Blu-ray edition. Exiled on Blu-ray is an absolute must own and must get for any Hong Kong fan. Exiled was released in 2006, directed by Johnnie goddamn Toe, produced by him as well. And what can I say? I've literally just watched this film. Oh my god, this was incredible. I was not expecting this film to be this level and to achieve the extraordinary level that it did. And I probably say this in every Johnnie Toe film, and I know I'm kind of like, Angie, you're saying the same thing all the time in every single film, and I know, but this, honestly, I'm gonna say it. This is the best Johnnie Toe film I've seen so far, and that's a big statement for me because Hero Trio I thought was my personal favourite up to that point in terms of how kind of left field it was in terms of like, you know, it's a comedy, it's a superhero film, it's an all-female cast, it's just something so different from him and his style. And you know, the fact he can do something like that to something like a full-blown character study western, emotionally charged, gun-filled, just, you know, bloodshed, but his take on a bloodshed, you know, even more so defining it, like, you know, John Woo is doing his kind of like, you know, Bad Tomorrow movies and his kind of, you know, backflips, and he's doing some incredible kind of wire work and storytelling, and he's, you know, Johnnie Toe's kind of like, hey look, I can do something along those lines, but I can do it in a much different way, much different kind of, much grounded level, but also have that kind of sort of mystical kind of, you know, western sort of, you know, outlandish kind of nature to it as well. The fact that, you know, you've got full-on blown sequences where they're shooting objects in the air kind of thing like a western, or they got a door, you know, flipping in the air, you know, from multiple kind of point of views from gunshots. It's absolutely incredible to watch visually, stylistically. Just the color tone, the color palette is very much like a, you know, spaghetti western type of feel. The storyline for Exiled is actually quite simple in its execution. It's 5 main assassin characters, brothers, friends that grew up throughout the kind of decades, and you can tell there's a really strong connection and bond between these individual characters. And you know, at the start of the film, you've got 4 characters that basically have gone after one of their friends who's decided to leave that life and to start a family and to have a kid, and they've been sent to basically kill him. You know, they've left to his kind of like little group, their little kind of posse gang in a sense, if I suppose you want to say that, and they kind of don't want to do it because they are friends, they are brotherhood in arms, and they kind of want to find a solution around it. And surprisingly, as the film is going along, you get some really interesting kind of story beats. You know, you've got a main villain character which is played by Samuel Young, which is fantastic. The other Johnnie Toe's a Johnnie Toe regular for sure, and he is chewing the scenery, he's having a lot of fun, he's basically like a guest star kind of cameo in the film, but every time he's on screen, he's really funny, his dialogue is great, the way his mannerisms, his style, just the way he kind of interacts and talks, and some of the characters, like Who's Your Daddy, slapping characters, decided to go, we'll kill one of the kind of, you know, the sub-bosses, you know, the kind of the sub-gangsters, very much like, you know, the Gentleman, in that sense, Guy Ritchie Gentleman, in that sense, you know, and double crosses ensued. And one of the things that really impresses me about the film so much is that the script and the level of attention to detail is so precise within that first 40 minutes, especially in the first 40 minutes. It's so well crafted, it's so tightly executed. And the good thing about Johnnie Toe, he knows when to let scenes breathe, he knows when to have tension, he knows how to set up a beautiful shot, he knows where to place characters in terms of their geography, and the reveals and some of the twists and turns, you know, in terms of like, you know, you think, okay, this is going to go one way, no, it goes the other way, and then it goes another way, and then it goes another way, and then there's some surprises that happens in the film that just is so funny because it's like, oh my god, I can't believe they got so much bad luck in terms of some of the story reveals. There's some very much intentional dark comedy placed in it, and it's kind of like, if you're clicking with the film, and if you're really enjoying what you're seeing, and you're really kind of invested in what's happening in terms of, you know, scene by scene, you're really going to find some good comedy in the moment, in some certain moments. And the first kind of portion of the film, I think, is just absolutely flawless. I think the whole film is absolutely fantastic, but especially in terms of setting up these characters, setting up the stakes, setting up what it means for them to not basically kill their friend. They're kind of going against the boss, and the boss has got plans, and there's things are not going to plan, things are getting screwed up, you know, and decisions are being made, choices are being made, and it's kind of leading to other choices. And it's a really emotionally charged film. I don't think I've seen Johnnie Toe do this level. I've seen it close, very, very close to The Throwdown and Mad Detective. You know, I would compare this very much to like something Bullet in the Head, John Woo. It's almost the same level as that in terms of, you know, a bunch of friends, really close, and they're going through an experience together, and you're getting the high charged emotional drama from, you know, their chemistry and from their interactions and from their history and from decisions being made, you know, despite them being, contract killers, and they've obviously very close together, and he's the lamb who's astray, but it puts them in a more kind of conflict because they care about him, they love him, they want to look after his family, and I really like how the film plays itself out. And just when you think you kind of figured out where the film's going to go, it throws a curveball quite a few times, and there's some really good sequences in the film. The action is absolutely outstanding, probably some of the best action I've seen Johnnie To do so far, and that's a big statement as well because I love all the action from his previous movie. It's the most deliberately delivered in terms of a western, in terms of like, guns being shot up his hands and flying in the air. You've got Red Bull cans in the air, you've got doors flying from multiple different angles. It's one of those types of movies, and some of the kind of the gun logic doesn't quite make sense in the real world, but in this kind of scenario and this kind of setting in this type of universe, I suppose it's the way it is. And that's what I strive for. That's what I love to see within, not just in Hong Kong movies, but in all movies. Great characters, a great story, a great sense of style, great choices, some surprising moments, and just a really memorable experience, and this really delivers absolutely for me at every single level. This was all fire cylinders, in terms of where the film is going and what the film has to offer. I think all the performances are absolutely fantastic in this film as well. Anthony Wong is one of the main characters in the film, and he's this guy with the shades. He's the guy that's kind of, in charge of the little gang, the little group there, and I think he does a really good subtle performance. I think everyone has a good moment to shine. There's a lot of kind of Johnnie To regulars appear in this film. There's a great sequence as well where they kind of, hijacking a kind of, armored kind of truck, and it's got some specific kind of items in there. I don't want to say too much, but there's a really good encounter with a character that's just in there just as a kind of, you're good. Do you want to split? It's just as simple as that. He's not like a major player in the film. He's not like got high stakes in the film. He's just a character that happens to impress them, and he's like, you hold your own pretty well. We respect that. Like a western, like a cowboy respecting each other kind of thing. I really like that, and that's the character from Breaking News as well, which I think is pretty cool. Overall, Exiled I think is an absolute masterpiece. It's probably my personal favourite Johnnie To film so far out of his lineup. This is number one for me. I love the characters, I love the emotionally charged kind of sequence with this kind of brotherhood, kind of growing up from out the ages. You've got interesting kind of left field, right wing kind of choices in terms of the story. The adaptation of the story I think is very interesting. I think you've got a fantastic villain, you've got great amazing action, you've got amazing color palette, you've got some great tributes to older movies, and you've got a really emotionally kind of action-filled, exciting, intense-filled, action-based movie that delivers on every single way. And if you want a really kick-ass film, if you want something that's going to be memorable and something that really kind of represents just on the same level as Bullet in the Head in terms of a kind of character piece study with all the other kind of bells and whistles that you want from the film like this as well, this is definitely a film for you, and I absolutely recommend picking up this edition. I'd like to give a big thanks and a shout out to CHAMELEON Films. Thank you very much for collaborating with me, and it's been an absolute blast and a pleasure doing these Blu-ray reviews. Absolutely love the films, and I cannot wait for your second batch releases, hopefully next year. So please go and check out CHAMELEON Films. There'll be a link in the description below. Go and check out these editions. What are your thoughts and opinions on all three releases? What's your favourite film out of the one so far? And what do you want to see next from CHAMELEON Films? What more they got in store? Have they got more Johnnie To films? I really, really hope so. This has been Amphlett Reviews, signing out.